Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in today for a very interesting webinar which talks about the psychology of gifting. We are right at the cusp of the festive corporate gifting season, and this webinar will help you understand how gifting can make a difference in employee satisfaction and loyalty. It would also talk about the key trends in gifting, what works, what does not work. And to present all this, we have a very dynamic leader amongst us, Mr. Abhijeet Jagtap. He's the founder at Wisdom Seat. He's a seasoned HR professional with over 14 years of experience in the field. He's an expert in psychology of human behavior and workplace wellness. His expertise lies in designing innovative strategies to transform workplace dynamics, build resilience, and foster a culture of well being and inclusivity through learning interventions, behavioral training, and policy drafting to enhance cultural diversity across workplace. It's my honor to now invite Mr. Jagtap to talk about the psychology of gifting and share his valuable insights with us. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Nupur, for such a warm and descriptive introduction. Thank you for highlighting what I do and what matters today. And I would like to thank everybody in Flexi to give me this opportunity and a platform to share my 2 cents, what I'm able to garner in maybe my 15, 16 years of experience. So I would be starting this particular session. I would be just like to have confirmation from everyone that is my screen visible? Am I audible? Is my video is working well? You can give me a thumbs up.
Yes, it's visible and you're audible.
Okay, great. So welcome to all, and I want to welcome everybody and giving their valuable time today of a topic which is really underrated, because I feel like gifting is underrated because we look it at a procurement kind of an activity. So everybody agree that it is like more of a procurement. That is what we are doing in India. Most of us, not everyone, but most of us are doing it because what we are trying to miss out when it comes to gifting is the psychological and emotional connection that we would be able to harness when gifting comes in play. Now you would say, like, how do you got this insight? So it was just a realization that I want to share with you, that go back to my, I think in 2016 or 17, that is Diwali of 2016 and 17, when I got certain gifts. So usually in India, we have this kind of a gifting culture that has come up, that if you want to gift someone something, make it sure that is eatable, because employer don't want to regret, or the employee don't want to regret that once that particular gifting item is taken, and if it is not usable, I don't want to keep it on my desktop. It is okay that I consume it. So is this kind of a trend that is going on? A lot of chocolate box are coming in, a lot of donuts, not donuts, but chocolate box, coffee, hampers that are being distributed as a corporate gift. So do you guys can just raise your or give me a thumbs up that this is the trend that you guys are looking at? All right. So that is why most of thank you so much. So most of companies are restoring to this particular trend, but I think there were few of gifts that I have usually which make me see gifting as a very psychological and emotional kind of an game that we play, and it lasts forever. Why I'm saying this? Because once the chocolate, the coffees are gone, what remains with you is this. These are two gifts that I cherish till now, two from 2017 itself. So one of it is this is a folder which has a diary inside, and one of it is a passport carrier, or I think credit card carrier. So still you can see that it is a little bit withered. And what was significant about this, that it was inexpensive, but it was personalized. So when you see that there was certain initial that was engraved on this particular folder, but now they have gone because of the time. And second object that you can see, or the second gift that you can see, is an water kettle or electric water heater kettle. Gifting can be done. And as I told you, it is more about the kind of message that you want to give. Is it about intent, emotion, and connection, or it is just a procurement list that you're doing? So when I look at gifting, I want there should be a kind of a 10% increase in your moral loyalty and perspective about the company that is there. Because if certain gifts are there with you and stay with you, and which are utilitarian and which are personalized, that have a long lasting effect psychologically with you. So I think from 2007 till today, why this particular electric kettle has survived and came to this presentation was because of the intrinsic value that it had, or the kind of personalization of that particular card holder, or maybe the journal that I have received. So that is how gifting is more of a psychological part. So let's unpack what is the psychology behind it, why it sticks, why certain gift experience sticks with you, and why certain gift experience doesn't stick you. So there is a design that is there. Okay, so psychological drivers there are there which are inside us. So human beings are evolutionary wired to respond powerfully to the gift and recognition. We have our brains which actually get lit up when a certain kind of gifting or certain kind of surprise is there. So you will see that employee will receive a thoughtful gift. They will, like, 78% will feel more valued, and 69% experience increase in motivation. This isn't just a sentiment, it's a neuroscience. So we'll just talk about what is the neuroscience behind this particular gifting. So let's talk about those particular psychological drivers. So the psychological drivers are divided into two parts. Two of them are intrinsic and two of them are extrinsic. So let's talk about the intrinsic. So let me talk about this particular experience that is there. Okay, so can you guys just put into a chat what this particular, or who is this particular guy you can associate with which organization? Nupur, you want to guess this particular guy?
I think it's gone. For me, it
This
would
one,
be
yeah. Thank you
it's
so
gone.
much for that. So I think the image is pretty much representative of that particular monk, and ISKCON was suffering from low footfall when it comes to getting associated with their organization. So they said that what we can do in order to bring that particular faith, or not a faith but attraction, or how I can associate that particular kind of generosity with the people that we are going to reach out, the message that is there. So what they used to do, they used to stand at a railway entrance. One monk used to stand at the entrance, one used to stand at the exit, and the monk used to give a rose at the beginning, and at the end, when he just leaves that particular station, there was another monk who used to give Bhagavad Gita. So rose and Bhagavad Gita were given to them. And once the rose and Bhagavad Gita was given to them, outside of the station, they used to have a volunteering counters where they used to take registration. Now, most of what happened previously when they were not doing this, there were very less people who were volunteering or enrolling for their particular memberships. But eventually, after doing this particular activity or task, I would say, of sharing, there was an increase of 70% of subscriber, or I would say people who used to volunteer. So now what they have done, they have actually tapped in an emotional psychological hack that is called as reciprocity. Now, what is reciprocity? So now human beings are hardwired to return favor. Okay, psychologically, we are hardwired. Neurologically, we are programmed to reciprocate positive gestures. A principle that yields experiment in certain kind of things. Like, let's say there was a subsequent increase from 15 to 20% in work environment or overall happiness in employee, only by giving thank you notes by the managers. There was no expensive gift was given, but only a thank you note have increased from 15 to 20%. Why it is there? Because human beings are very much, they are like twice as much likely to help someone who previously gave them something, or even if it is small. So Rose and Bhagavad Gita was a very small gesture, but I think that has created a kind of a long-lasting effect on person who is receiving. So they were like, I have to have this particular kind of, I have to give this back. So what that particular term that was called was, it was translated into emotional debt. So whenever you give a gift which is of emotion, and you would always see this particular monk with a very generous smile, with a very, I would say, welcoming kind of an attitude, and giving that gift in that particular environment, that creates an emotional debt. And if you are giving a gift just for the sake of distribution list, this reciprocity is not going to work. And I would always see that reciprocity is there residing our into our brain works, and we would be emotionally indebted to any person who is giving us a favor. So this is one of the principle that can be utilized, or this is why we love gift. This is why gifting is so important for us. But gift with a kind of an intention and an engagement that is there. All right. So let's go to the next intrinsic principle of psychology. Let's talk about emotional anchoring. So when it comes to emotional anchoring, so we have a kind of a memory which is called as associated memory. So gift links to positive emotion, right? No matter how small the gift is, how how cheap the gift is, it would always have an associated memory to it, because it evokes a certain kind of emotion in you. So there was one experiment that was done, and when gifting comes in play, when we have one side, we have a gift giver and a person who's a receiver. So there was a very interesting kind of an experiment was done, and the entire gift given activity is dopamine rich. Dopamine get released when you're planning to gift and when you're anticipating it to be received. And there was a very a study that was created, or the study that was done by University of Zurich, where they have actually given $100 to 50 participants in a college campus, at a college campus, and 25 of them were told that take this $100 and spend it on yourself. So 25 out of 50 were given like, this is $100, spend on yourself. And the next 25 people were given $100 and they were told spend it on others. All right. So I just want to know, like, and this was study was conducted by Simon Thomas. Now this guy is a neuroscientist, psychology of compassion, kindness and gratitude at University of Zurich in Switzerland. So what do you think, which 25 people would have been more happier? The first one who have spent $100 on themselves, or the $100 who has spent it on others? What do you think? So you can type one or two. One is somebody who spend on themselves, and second who can spend on others. Anybody? Am I getting any kind of response in the chat box? Okay, Nupur, you have to be on my eyes and
Yeah,
ears.
yes, yes, yes.
Abhijit, we've started a poll. People are saying that others spent on others will be happier.
Yes.
Good. Okay, great. I think people
Around
have already
65%.
cracked the code about gifting, because what Simon Thomas has discovered, that other than when they have come back after 4 weeks of study of getting an that is called as fMRI, that is functional magnetic resonance imaging of people who have spent it on themselves and people who have spent it on others. The brain activity in the generosity and pleasure during social sharing was more in the people who have gifted to others. So now, why it is important? Now, I will say that if you are someone who is ready to gift, your employees, the major benefit is also get it by, or it is also received by the company. Because why it is so? Because when you are gifting to someone, that actually hit a different part of your brain. Okay, endorphins and dopamine is something that we can relate to this particular part of the brain, which is the frontal lobe. But there is another neuropeptide that has been released when you are sharing with somebody else, that is called as oxytocin. Now oxytocin is a neuron or neuropeptide which actually talks about trust, social connection. Then we call it a signal of trust, safety and social connection. Now, what has happened because of this particular exchange, the feel good factor is more to the person who is planning to gift. And this create a kind of an environment. And we do understand that the gifting itself has to be an environmental thing. It should not be given in private. We give it in public, we make it as an event, because that's how it shows that this particular environment is safe and it's to be trusted. And this is how the connection is built. So emotional anchoring is gifting is a very important part. All right. So coming to the third part of the psychological driver is the symbolic value, that is extrinsic. Intrinsic, we have seen that yes, we have a kind of a reciprocity that is working on. Have an emotional anchoring. But what happens outside when we are working in a social setup? Because society, environment is like what we are product of the environment, right? If the environment is appraising efforts, if the environment is appraising your talent, everybody would feel good about it. And gifting should not be a one time activity. It has to be something that we have to have a symbolic addressal towards it. So symbolical value is more because gift act as a visible recognition that says that I see you. It is not about like I don't want to go and say to you I see you, but if I gift you, it already is a symbolical part. And how it works, symbolical value, that gifts speak louder than object. They signal intent, value, and respect. That is what society wise you are able to do it extrinsically. So gifting has that kind of a symbolic part. And why a particular employer is being nominated as the employer of the year, I think the one of the part or the one of the element would be definitely gifting culture that is there, and how sensible gift they are doing. Brand reinforcement, I think that has been really much clear in the beginning, that why I'm still carrying that electric kettle today and why I was able to show it, because it is still stuck in my head that yes, that particular company has given me that kind of an item which has been utilized, and the utility is still there, relevant. So okay, thoughtful corporate gifting anchor positive association with the organization. Still with the GPMI, I am still associated in terms of the passport holder that they have given to me. All right. So personalization, the time and effort that you realize that once the customization is there, you realize as a human being that yes, there is a kind of a time and effort that has gone into this particular gift, and you already start recognizing it. Because if your kid purchase a card from a market, and if the kid draw a card for you, that is totally different kind of a feeling. I'm not saying that every HR has to draw a card, because I don't want the HR to be termed as after Rangoli department, don't be called as a card gift card kind of a department. Please don't do that, but make sure that you're doing it emotional thing. So emotional bonding is there. All right. Okay, loyalty impact. Well matched gift triggers positive emotion and enhance brand perspective and drive long-term loyalty. Because this is what you can see lot many time into how people's social, social media is becoming the biggest branding part that is there. So that is very much a symbolical way of doing it. All right. Let's go to the last part of psychological drivers, that is again extrinsic, that is of social proof and reputation. So these are some of the points that I want to talk about. That normative influence. Okay, people copy what other endorse, gift, sign, brands, and worth. So now it is like a replication. We do whatever is empowering, whichever is positive, we try to replicate it in a positive sense. Status signaling, this is something that we know, that we associate prestige with our company, that is there. Word of mouth amplification through social media, that is there. Trust transfer. Okay, positive emotion towards gift extend to trust in the brand, and ripple effect. One gift influence many through the recipient wide social network. So because once you are gifted, we as a human being, we try to share, because you can see in induction pre-kits as well, welcome kits as well, we try to show it on social media. So that is where the social networking effect also is there. So ripple effect is also there. So you can see two of the intrinsic and two of the extrinsic part that is there. All right. So the one question that comes up over here. So which of these four does your organization lean on most, and which one is missing? Okay. So which one is missing out, intrinsic or extrinsic? You can put it into the chat. You can put it into the poll. Nupur, can you just give me a glimpse of it, like what people are typing more in that?
Yes, sure. So, which of these four does your organization lean most on? So, the votes that they're still moving. So, we have a tie between emotional anchoring and symbolic value of gifts. So, I think
Right,
when you said that the passport holder still have, stayed with you, that is kind of reflecting of what the audience is also saying.
right,
And
right.
again, symbolic values of gift is moving to 48%. So, largely
Yeah,
in terms of the attendance, 50% of the people believe that symbolic value of gifts is very important. So I
right.
think people have stopped voting now. So symbolic value of gifts is 52%, Then emotional anchoring is 32%.
Mm-hmm.
Social proof and reputation is 8%, and reciprocity is 5%, according to the audience present.
Wow. Wow. So we have to turn the table around. We have to start with reciprocity. That is what we can start with. We can make sure that we are just not doing one event. We can do a small micro events of gifting, which can lead to this kind of a climax. So if you're trying to do, because I still remember Valentine Day was not the day we used to have a Valentine month when we were really serious about the woman in our life. We used to have a weekly stash out of small gifts, and I think most of the people might be doing it still, but I think that is one thing that creates a suspense, and then there is a bigger bang as a climax. So we can have those particular kind of a non-expensive kind of a culture appreciation cards, even a little bit of incentive that can be done, so reciprocity can build up and have a long lasting effect. All right, great. Wow, good engagement.
So which
So
we
what,
asked another question that you asked us to, which one is missing?
yeah, which one
So
is missing?
the intrinsic, that is 60% have voted that the intrinsic is
Is
missing.
wow.
Extrinsic is there. 40% say that extrinsic
Wow.
is missing, and intrinsic, oh, it's moving again. So intrinsic is 64%,
Mhm.
and extrinsic is 34%. Which one is missing? So intrinsic has more votes.
More votes. So I think
Yeah.
it's a very clear cut understanding that what we have to do more in order to balance it out. I'm not saying do 100% of intrinsic. Have a balance of it, because the balance itself would give you results, will give that stickiness towards your gifting game. That is what I'm trying to talk about. All right, great. I'm feeling so pumped up. People are responding to it. Let's talk what works. I think what is there and what works. Always personalization overpowers pricing. I don't think so that you have to have a extravagance kind of an expanded kind of an whenever you are planning any kind of gift, anything that is personalized. And I think what has stayed with me is not the Jamaican coffee hamper that was being given to me, which was like gone in just a week or two. What has stayed with me is the passport holder. What has stayed with me is the electric kettle. So but there was names. I'm not able to bring that particular box in which it was packed. It had a handwritten note, because it is gone now. It has been like 7 years. I can't even locate that. But I'm talking about the memories that has been created. The memory. Gifting is, as I told you, the intent speak louder than the object, and that where the personalizing and pricing comes in. So Deloitte say that 80% of preference personalized experience. So even a 500 rupees journal personalize can be more than the 5,000 rupees hamper, which can be just a procurement copy paste. Don't do that. Okay, relevance and timing. Gift aligned with the milestone or context amplifies the meaning. So if you have any kind of milestones and making those as a gifting kind of a culture, which can be in terms of anything that you can think about, we can go crazy and wild about how we can come up with that. Because why I'm saying that, because gifting is not only talking about the message, it is also talking about the culture. What kind of culture you represent. We will be talking about what culture means when trends would be hitting up. And consistency. Have a gifting calendar. Let them give a prediction, because I think most of the employee would expect a kind of an assurity that this is what I would be receiving, or this is what the time the gifting is there. So suspense is there. Movies do that, right? The release is going to be in this month. Then the teasers are released. There is an anticipation, and the most dopamine is released in anticipation. It is not about the receiving the gift. It is the anticipation. What would be the gift? How it looks? How it would be, utilized? Who would be giving it to me? Okay, what kind of note or what kind of gift can be there? So there is a kind of a little bit of a psychological game, and I think the chase is remembered than the fruit. So make sure the chase is worthwhile for that particular part. So gifting calendar can be one of the predictability, trust, and cultural reinforcement that you can do. The last part is the sensitivity, and not the last part, one of the important part that I feel like the sensitivity, that one size fit for all fails all the time. All right. So example, like wine for teetotalers, sweets for the diabetic. Don't do that, because it's totally disconnect. A lot of chocolate boxes and mithai boxes that are going to gifted. I think they would be parceled to somewhere else, because India is number one in diabetic condition, right? We know that. So please don't do it. Okay. So that is where the disconnect is happening, because we have to make sure that yes, we are aligning to the the demographics that is there. All right. So why I'm saying this, because it is like my fingers are burned in this particular situation, and I will give you the example of that in my home itself. So let's talk about sensitivity, what it talks about. So small instance. So meet Anaya and Jivak. These are my niece, both of them. And as an uncle, I have always gifted them something, and I thought, let's give same gift to both of them. Chess. Okay. So chessboard is what I've given them. So both of them, like Anaya is like 5, Jivak is 8, and this is the first match. So the first match, if you see the body language Jivak and Anaya sitting over there, the first move took 10 minutes. Do you know why? Or why can you guess, guys, why it took 10 minutes for Anaya to move the first? Any guesses? Anything that you can do? Or Nupur, you can collectively talk about the guess that you can take over here.
Maybe she was thinking hard for her first move, or maybe she didn't know the game at all. So it can be both. Either she knew it too well or she didn't know it at all.
Okay, great. Anyone who has shared into chat box, I just want to know their input. Like why Jivak is covering his face and Anaya is like laughing over there. Like what is happening? Okay,
We have some questions for you in the chat box, which we'll ask later, but no
okay.
response.
All right, all right. So we can go with this particular game in first. So question for all of, what do you think what is happening over here? There are two pictures that I've took. Why she was like, there for last 10 minutes. What was going on? Nupur said like she was strategizing, okay, I want to take this move or like this, or second, she didn't know about the game. All right. So if you guys can observe over here, this is what is happening. Okay. The knight and the rook were chatting about what I asked, I asked Anaya that what was happening. She told me that this was the story, that the queen has bought purse to this particular match and that was lost, and the knight and the rook was actually chatting where the purse has gone. Okay. So because she has bought that particular purse to the game. Why it was so? Because she felt that queen is a woman and she would be carrying all her, and I have not shown the other part of the picture. It has a makeup box over there. Okay. So she was so into the game of not knowing it, and that was my myopic vision that chess can be a very good game or a gift for a 5-year-old girl and a boy, unless and until I don't make them understand it how it has to be used. Okay, so sometimes gifting can be in a tricky game when sensitivity it comes. I have to see in that is the person who is receiving a gift, and we miss out that part when we are actually giving a sweet box to a diabetic person or a wine bottle to a teetotaler. Very few of company would be doing that, but definitely yes. So sensitivity is very important. Great. So why gifting actually fails? Because gifting starts with communication. A lot of you might be saying like a gifting is something that we communicate with each other, we talk a lot, but what I feel like gifting is more about this: 2 ears and two eyes. Because our naturally we have given this particular proportion that it has to be 2 ears and two eyes, observation and listening. Gifting is not an art of what to be gifted or how relevant is. Gifting is the art of listening, observing whatever stands relevant to your demographic. Make sure that you can incorporate into your gifting strategy, not the other way around. Okay, not with the budgeting and not what other competitors are doing, nothing like that. Okay, so that was the inside of this particular part. So let's go to the next question. So one gift, two reactions. That is what I want to talk about. Okay. So a company gift the same premium leather diary to two people. To senior Gen X director, it feels practical, premium, and useful, maybe from my generation. And to Generation Z, analyze that it feels old school, impersonal, and wasteful. Same gift, two complete different reactions. Okay. So what does this tell us about redesigning gift in a multicultural or multi-generational or cultural environment? So any input that you guys can give into, because the next slide would give you some insight that what works for this generation part. Okay, so is the question out, Nupur, or should I go to the next slide? Should I reveal the analysis of that?
I think you can reveal because you have a question in the Q&A box
Okay.
for this. But we've just put the when wrong gift was given, was it generational driven? We have twisted the question a little, and we're just waiting for the responses. That is it because of generation, or is it because not too much thought was put into it? So people are saying that yes, when the wrong gift was given, it was generational driven. It's 54% people who
Mhm.
believe that, gifting, if when goes wrong, it's mostly because you don't understand the generation
Right,
perfectly. 58% of the people rather believe this.
right, right.
62% now. So I
Wow.
think a lot of the attendees believe
Wow.
that there
It's
is a
generational.
generational gap in gifting
Yeah.
that is there. Yeah.
So the generational lens that I want to talk about here, it's a pretty much a kind of explanatory game that is there. The generation Z would be digital first generation, eco-conscious, purpose-driven, perfect subscription or prefer subscription over an objective or a experience and more sustainable kits. That is what generation Z would be there. And we're talking about example as well. Don't worry about it. What would be meaning that? Okay, millennials recognition utility like hybrid tool career growth gifts, like we would be like a kind of an Coursera kind of subscription. We want to enroll into some kind of courses which can enhance our skill set. It doesn't mean that generation Z doesn't want it, but what would be preferred more? I think generation Z is far more aware of that, and they would be getting into that particular part. And generation X and boomers, something that would be just good to know information, because I really doubt how much of them are really there. But if you are looking at generation X and boomers at your home place, in your relatives, or any senior consultant that is there, yes, you can practical, quality focus, premium gadget, travel gears, family package. And I think it doesn't mean that if you're from a generation X, it doesn't mean that you don't love, prefer subscription or experience. It is totally up to your 2 ears and 2 eyes. I would say that I'm not categorizing anybody over here. I'm just saying you this is what the preferences are. This is something that you can start as a consideration, and then you can build up your case by observation and listening to your audience. All right, so this is just a study. It is not a kind of in fact. Okay, clear? So this was there. Let's go to this third and the second last part of this, like what is the future of gifting, because we have to know that what future of gifting would look like. Okay, so the first thing is like sustainability is what is looking at, because now we have like almost 40 to 48% of Gen X, Gen Z's into workforce. And if you want to drive that particular part, 60% of million by base eco value, eco value. That is what Deloitte research has come in. So when I talk about eco value, there can be a green gift kit, which can be reusable bamboos, recycled bags, recycled, plant-based kind of whatever you want to put into that. Even some of the companies have cut down on packaging of that particular gift. They are not packaging as into a carry bag. They are always packaging into a recycled material, and they are putting it on that particular hamper. They're not leaving that opportunity. They want to make sure that our generation Z would understand that whatever we are doing, it is sustainable. We are gifting you, but we are making it sure that it is sustainable, because there are a lot of waste that is created after gifting festival. Everybody knows that, right? Clear? So that is one thing. Say so sustainability reduce, it is called as in psychological term, it is called as cognitive dissonance. I don't want to get identify with a material which is toxic, okay, as in Gen Z. So make sure that I would only put something on my social media if it is eco-friendly. I have the probability of more putting it on social media. So this is where you would know that what can be posted on, because that posting itself says that there is a word of mouth of appreciation that is happening. Secondly, experience was over objective. Experience are being taken more seriously right now. So Cornell University research show that people drive more long-term happiness from experience than the material possessions. So when I talk about experience, it is about what kind of experience that you can give. Now most of you would be aware that there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of awareness around mental wellness. So rather than gifting them, can we arrange for a wellness retreat than giving a pen set or giving a hamper? Can we get a kind of a concession over a kind of a therapy that can generation Z can utilize, rather than just copy pasting a certain kind of hamper or a coffee kit that you want to give? So that is where these particular things can come into play. Okay, let's say like online master classes that you want to give them. Like most of the Airbnb are giving experience voucher through their employees, like cooking sessions, virtual tours, engaging in scores were higher than when the material gift were given. So there are a lot of avenues where you can make sure that gifting cannot be associated to object. It can be also shifted to experiences. So that is one thing that you can do. So digital first. I think why I'm saying this, because now we have a hybrid workplace. Okay, physical gift doesn't always reach distribution to the teams. So e-gifting is scaling up. So I think there are a lot of Amazon cards, Flipkart cards, or any kind of Starbucks concession cards that are also being distributed as a gifting methods that we are putting into. So even in certain cases, like in my previous company, we used to have a Netflix subscription, which was given to our employees, and they were used to have a kind of a choice which subscription that I can choose from. Is it Netflix, Prime, or both of them, or the internet package, whichever you want to give. So that is where the digital gifting can become a borderless kind of a way of approaching towards multiple location that most of the startups are into, or even into the organization which is spread across. All right. So that is one thing that is there. All right. So hybrid workforce and psychological fitment. I call this as a cultural storytelling, because you see that most of the companies lose the opportunity of making it as a cultural gift rather than just making this a hamper. Let me give you an example. Let's say if you're a wellness company, giving a yoga mat and a gratitude journal can be a way of communicating, this is our culture, we also care for our employees, so our product is given to them. So let's take a tech startup can give a VR headset or a product which is being associated with tech industry. So that can also reinforce the kind of DNA that they have. So that is what the DNA of innovation that they want to put into. So that can be a cultural storytelling towards gift as well. So like Zopo, a famous company, which actually what they give, and they're trying to give a kind of a gift culture wherein they are given a kind of a what I can say, a currency which can be a pointers which can be distributed among the employees. So that is also one of the way that you can put into that. Zeppo is one company which actually is into customer relationship and CSRM designing. So they are innovating certain things that they can fit into that. All right. So we are almost at the end of our presentation. All right. Okay. So what I want to say is that the future of gift giving isn't about the cost, it's about the cultural storytelling. Okay, even gift should answer, does this reflect who we are as an organization, and not as a procurement list. It is all about psychology. All right. So now the last thing that I want everyone to do is, there is one challenge that I want to give to everyone. If your next corporate gift was posted on LinkedIn, okay, by the receiver, what do you think? Will it be reflecting your culture, or will it be another corporate box ticking activity or exercise? So what do you want to do? And definitely most of them would be doing at the first because nobody wants to be in that. Yes, that is doable if you try and practice what has been the insight that has been provided. So I think the reciprocity and the emotional anchoring is something that was missing out, as Nupur rightly said, that yes, we are falling in way behind in personalizing and tackling how psychological impression can be made through gifting activity. So that is more important rather than just a transaction and just a procurement. So that was all from me. I think if you have any questions, I'm open to question. This is my social media connect that if you want to get, you can scan it, you can get connected with me. And I'm ready for question, Nupur. Any question that you want to shoot on me?
So we
Yes.
have a lot of
Wow.
questions, but in the interest of time, we'll just take two of those. And thank you so
Sure.
much for this very, very interesting session. And when you spoke about matcha, that hit really hard because I've never been able to develop a taste for matcha. And I think I'm pretty old for that
Same
now.
here.
But yeah, definitely hit a chord there. So there are two very interesting questions that I would like to, take ahead. One is we spoke about the gift reflecting the culture of the company? But there's a very interesting question that someone has posted. How do cultural differences influence gifting traditions and expectations? So
Hmm.
that question, because we spoke about the culture of the company, but how do the cultural differences influence gifting traditions and expectations? If you can take that ahead for our
I would
audience.
always make sure that if you have a cultural difference which is very stark and which is very in your face, don't try to make sure that you have to make a cultural story as a centerpiece of your gifting strategy first. Why? Because you are planning to fail. First thing. What you're doing, the variation is low, then what we can restore ourselves to, go to the common denominator of human being, that what is the need, want, and expectation, and that we can do very well with our observation and listening skill. I don't want you to become a person who follows the book by the tea. Experiment, because gifting is, as I told you earlier, your entire thing is going to be raised by 10%. I've just given you a very ambitious number. It would be in just single digit, that you would be seeing, if you do certain kind of steps and you do a gifting right. And as I told you, it is a kind of in climax, it is not one time thing. Gifting would start with the environment, how kind of environment you are preparing. So if you have a cultural heavy environment, make sure that you have a environment as a gift. Don't create a gift as an object, but as an experience. Because if you have a culture of appreciation, like a small thank you note, a kind of an inter-peer appraisal or incentive kind of a program, where rather than just sending a card, can we give points which can be redeemed in some other way to each other? Is there any way that we can do it? So don't go all the routes in that particular part. Make sure that the culture can also be an environment, not in gift.
Perfect. Perfect. That answers the question beautifully. The last question, there are many, but in the interest of time, I'll take just one more. So, someone has a very, very relevant question. Will article gifting still be relevant in the future, considering everything is now digital? What is your take on it?
Wow. This is so, it has so much meaning in this particular part. If you're doing an article gifting, and when it becomes relevant and special and executive, is that, are you personalizing it? Right. So if Son Papadi has been Son Papadi has been forwarded and given in Diwali, rather than doing that, if you are able to record a video of one of the memories that was with that particular person. I'm just talking about a very niche personalization, which can't be replicated in corporate, or maybe can be replicated in corporate. That can we have one video of a team which talks about the event and how that particular person has shows leadership, empathy, compassion, and we send that video or we publish that video on our social media handle, and that can be a gift. So when I see a kind of this is a digital one, but if you are personalizing to that particular level, yes, it would stay relevant. That is my answer.
Perfect, perfect. And it was, some really good insights. And it's so you talked about the future of gifting, how it has to be sustainable, digital, and should cater to everyone's need. It's very heartening because at Pluxy, we are doing something very similar where our gifts are digital in nature. They're sustainable because there are cards which can be virtually distributed. We have
Correct.
some personalization options. So I think we've got some of the psychology correct there. And it was heartening to listen from you. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights. And I do agree with you when you said Son Papdi, it's the most abused gift on this planet. And everybody has been talking about that, making memes about it. But thank you again, Abhijit, for taking out time to be a part of this session and sharing your valuable insights. And thank you for being here today. And thank you, everyone, for being a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Thanks, Abhijit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for participating.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye. Have a
Bye.
great day.